Welcome back to the Remote No Pressure Podcast, bro.
Hey, it's good to be back.
It's great to be back. We're coming along for Christmas.
That's sneaking right up on us.
You got any plans?
Oh, just work. Hard to tell what the future holds for Christmas.
That's true. If
they're going to cancel it, Christmas might be canceled this year.
The Burgermeister Burger. No Christmas this year. You ever see the Santa Claus?
Oh.
Their Burgermeister Burger. God, so
time.
dumb. I really wish you would have laughed and you would have got the joke, but because you didn't, it flops.
That doesn't... Next topic.
It's like a couple episodes ago when you're like, we should really hire some
good writers.
Yeah, this is getting ridiculous. But the Burgermeister, you think if they cancel Christmas, will you still celebrate Christmas?
Yes.
If they say sorry, you can't do anything? What would you do? Would you do anything, or would you be like, okay? What would you do?
I'm not going to listen to what they're saying though either. So if they say if the governor comes out or president-elect comes out and says we're not allowed to do, we're canceling Christmas this year to stop the spread. They don't have the science down though either to say that this will help stop the spread. I don't want to go into like my whole political side of what I think about this. So I don't mean to put you on the spot, but it is political, unfortunately.
Yes. And if I would have thought Christmas and the holidays would be political, if you would have told me that last year, I would have called you crazy. You know, but I don't want to be irresponsible. But yet, it is a sacred holiday, part of your faith, and
doesn't matter if Christian or Jew or doesn't matter, or if you don't believe. Christmas is always that holiday where everybody gathers together, even if you don't believe in anything.
Right.
That's just a national holiday for people to gather.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. In the meantime, though, I'm hoping Murph comes up. J.P. Murphy.
Yeah.
Big shout out to J.P. Murphy. Not Charlie Murphy, but
he's gone now.
J.P. Murphy. I know. Were you... no one even knew who Charlie Murphy was until Chappelle Show.
I know.
I'm rich. No, but no. So JP Murphy hopefully is coming up. Remember when we went steelhead fishing with him before in like February?
Yeah. It was April.
Was it April?
It was April. Yeah.
That was 0 degrees outside.
Yeah, it was like in the 20s. Our eyelids were freezing.
Oh my gosh.
It was so cold. We walked a mile down that river.
And I dropped the don't say the name of the river. It's a secret river that we enjoy. If you're watching the YouTube channel, can we get one of those teeth that go ding?
I don't have that effect.
It's a secret river that we enjoy. Ding. Yeah, that's what I need. Like from Home Alone. Yeah, that's what I need. No, but we went there and I remember dropping my glove in the river and picking it up and it was frozen before I even got it up to my face. And I'm like, I hate ice fishing. I don't like being cold.
Yeah.
There's a point where you get so cold you can't warm up, and that's where we were that day.
Yep.
And J.P. Murphy put our life at risk.
We agreed to do it.
I felt like that kid on A Christmas Story that was all bundled up and he's walking around, like that. Because I had like all these layers on and I had my 5mm neoprene waders. And I'm like, barely. I caught one walleye that day. No steelhead.
That was awesome, though.
Yeah, one walleye.
You caught something. The rest of us, JP and I don't think we caught anything.
No. J.P. Murphy. But hopefully he'll be up here soon in the holiday season. I know he's supposed to come up. It would be really fun to have him on the show again because I miss that guy. He was fun. Did you go to the fly fishing film tour with us with Murphy?
No, I don't think so.
You didn't?
I've only been to 2.
Murphy came with us one time with Accountant Phil. And Murphy gets so excited when he watches these films, and he had this box of popcorn, and he would get so excited, and the popcorn would shake and just like be falling over. And he's, oh my gosh, did you see that? He would get so excited. And it's one of those people that you're going to have fun when you hang out with him. So hopefully he comes around, but we'll see because again, he's in Florida now.
Yep.
Is he going to come up and hang out with us, or is he going to stay home because he was going to come home for Thanksgiving?
Stop the spread.
But he didn't because we've had an outbreak here in Michigan. So we want to be responsible, but it's just kind of screwed everything up, though. So, in other news... Sometimes, Bill, our and other news segments can be kind of, how do you say, goofy.
Out there? Oh.
Out there.
I think we shoot for goofy, though, don't we?
Fair and balanced.
We shoot for goofy. We keep hitting Pluto.
But Great Lakes Now had an interesting article this week. Well, actually, I think it's older. It was in November 4th, so a little bit older. But overlooked, small streams can have big impact on Great Lakes water quality. And it was really pointing out, and I actually came across this because I'm in the water business now. I'm selling like water stuff. And so looking at the water in our Great Lakes area, how these small streams can really affect Lake Michigan, and I know Lake Michigan has more plastic pollution than any of the other Great Lakes.
I've heard that.
So it's pretty crazy. So it says here, decades of monitoring and regulatory effects have paid little attention to small tributaries of large water bodies, despite the ubiquity and potential local importance, the researchers wrote. So it's really poignant. I'm going to put this article up because I think it's really important that even though we focus on the Great Lakes, we focus on even some of the bigger rivers. Mm-hmm. There's also those small streams and things like that can really affect.
You ever look at a watershed map of the state?
Oh, yeah.
It's pretty fascinating. Yeah, you can see which rivers dump into what parts.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And it's really funny because there's a little creek that I go to. I'm not going to say the name of it, but there's a little creek that I go to that's part of the Grand River watershed. Mm-hmm. And I normally go there, and I go with my buddy Denny, and you can fish from shore. And Denny's got arthritis really bad, so it's really hard for him to wade and stuff. But you could fish from shore, so that's why we go there.
Yeah.
We went there during COVID. Well, we didn't. I went by myself during COVID because I'm like, I need to get out of the house, and there's no one there ever. And it's a tiny creek. It's not big, and there were like 4 or 5 people wading in the creek, fly fishing in this creek. And I'm like, "What are you doing?" I didn't say anything to them because technically it's just as much their creek as it is mine. Yeah. So I'm not going to be a jerk about it. But I was like, "Hey, curious, like, I've never seen you guys around here. Are you local?" And he's like, no, we're from the east side of the state. I'm like, well, I was like, well, what are you
doing here?
There's just not a lot of fish in this creek. You may want to try the other
Try the
creek.
Grand.
Try the Grand. No, but, and there's not, it can't take a lot of pressure. It's a creek, and it's always catch and release for me. I'll catch some panfish in there. I'll catch trout. I've caught a steelhead in there, but it's not one of those big high numbers creeks,
Yeah.
And it is open for fishing. So I was just shocked. But what he did is he looked at the watershed map, looked at the creeks, was like, oh, this is kind of an interesting creek. And then he showed up and with like 3 of his buddies. And there were a couple other people there too. And it's like, my God, I think everyone's feeling pressure right now on the rivers,
Yeah.
So this week on the Remote No Pressure podcast, we actually have Paul Torrez with us. He is a fly fishing guide on the Guadalupe River, or as some Texans call it, the Guadalupe. I call it the Guadalupe because that's what I grew up calling it. But he's a fly fishing guide there. And we talk a little bit about low water levels, and just the absolute people pollution. I mean, it's just the rivers have gotten really crowded. So
crazy. Do you blame that on COVID?
I think so. Part of it.
Or people really jumping into the sport, or jumping into it due to COVID.
That's what I'm thinking. And, I think people have got to get out of the house. They're just going nuts. And then they're going back to those things that they cherish as kids,
Yeah.
And, but yeah, I think people have more time on their hands. I think fly fishing has really taken off as a very, very popular sport. And I think we're seeing some big crowds. So I think that's the problem. But anyways, I really wish you could have came to Texas with me this past year.
Yeah, I know.
Next year.
We're
going to go.
2021.
We're going to go.
Once all this is passed.
We're going to go down there. It's fun. It was
If we're
such
allowed
a great
to travel.
trip. If we're allowed to travel, we're going to head down to Texas. But anyways, I'm really excited to have Paul. It's funny because we're in our 4th season, and I remember starting off here. I didn't know anybody, and now it's almost like an excuse to hang out with my buddies, and that's what I feel like when I talk to Paul, because Paul and I talk on a weekly basis. Again, we are both from the Harvard of the South. We both went to the prestigious school there in South Dallas. We were both part of a Skull and Bones fraternity there. So we're about
explains the ring.
We're about to take over the world. No, but it's always awesome and awesome to talk to Paul. So welcome to the podcast. Let's light the fire. Well, today on the Remote No Pressure podcast, I'm very excited to have a close friend of mine, a fellow alumni of the Harvard of the South, Mr. Paul Torrez. Thanks for hanging out with me, Paul.
Hey, Jeff. What's up, my brother?
What floor were you on at our college?
Ooh. I wish I was on the 10th floor.
Yeah, that's where all the old people were.
Yeah, maybe was it like 6th or 7th?
7th,
which is
yeah.
At completion.
Yeah.
Floor completion. I wish I was on 8 too, which is New Beginnings.
New Beginnings, brother.
Didn't want to be on 6 though. We know what that is.
Yeah, all those guys, man. That was bad news. That's bad news, dude. But it's good to hang out with you. How's fishing been down in Texas?
Good, man. It's been good. It's it's been good. The winter time is Guadalupe and striper fishing for me. So Guadalupe is super low, so it's combat fishing for guides. And
what's it, 300 CFS or something like that? Or
I wish 300 would be amazing.
Wow.
For Guadalupe. Yeah, it was 300 last year at this time, if I remember correctly. But no, it's like 47.
So the fish on the Guad, I mean, I think we've talked about this a little bit before, but they stock the trout, and then people come and fish for them. One of the things I noticed when I was down there, because we fished this last summer and we were or spring, I think it was, and we were looking for some holdouts to see if there was anything left. But brother, that was not, either that or I couldn't set the hook, which I think that's probably the case.
Or maybe I was just telling you, that was a fish, dude, that was a fish.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. No, and see, you could just say, well, you should have set the hook better. You could say, well, Jeff, I'm sorry. I mean, I'm the guide. I put you on the fish.
Well, I'm not God. What can I do? It's up to you, dude. You got to take it from there. That's it. It's not my fault.
That's it, brother.
You're fishing the way you were.
But do those fish, I mean, with that low water, they hang out in those deeper holes then, and then as you're fishing through there, you got the holes picked out. You kind of know the area because you're fishing that same water over and over. And
with no water, it's like, normally you can have like an A, B, and C plan for the river. Like if A doesn't work, B, C.
Right.
With no water, it's like you only have A. Because the water's so low, all the wade fishermen can come in, and so there's nowhere to fish. And so you share whiskey with fishermen or give them a Coke or a beer or something. And you say, hey, dude, if you let me fish this hole, I'll freaking hook you up with something. And then they hook, they give you 10 minutes, and then when it's time to leave and you go. That my last trip, that's what I had to do. And thank God, because it was the winter. That hole, there's one hole on the stretch that I'm running right now. That's decent.
And you want to put your clients on fish. I mean, as a guide, that's one of the things. I mean, they're paying you good money to go fishing, and we know they may or may not catch fish, but you want them to catch something. You want to have that meaningful trip for them as a guide.
Absolutely. And you can only talk about ospreys for so long, and whatever, nutria. Look at that might be a nutria. That's not a squirrel. It's a nutria. You can only talk about that for so long, and then you got to catch fish. So.
You got it. Okay, let's get through the small talk and let's get on the fish. I remember I had interviewed a guy, and I always forget his name, but he was an NBA Hall of Famer. Rick Barry was his name, and I interviewed him. I think it was the first or second season, and the dude's super type A personality. And he talks really fast, and the dude made it into the NBA by shooting granny shots for free throws because he was like 20% more effective. He didn't care how he looked. I'm here to get points.
Yeah.
And so he would do in the NBA granny shots for his free throws. Well, he's just that kind of guy. His name's Rick Barry.
That's pretty amazing. That's my kind of fly fisherman too.
He's all about catching, and we try to philosophize. I don't know if that's a true word, but we lean into the philosophy of fly fishing a lot, and we talk about, oh, it's so great and wonderful. And he's like, I'm just trying to catch as many fish as I possibly can. I don't care. He's like, you could be a guide if you want to, but I'll be honest with you, when my guide goes out, I don't want a streamside dinner. I want a peanut butter sandwich while I'm fishing. He better, and it's like, dude, like, chill out. But he's all about, let's get to the business. I don't want to talk. I want to fish, and let's catch as many fish as possible. Do you run into those kind of people very often, or not really?
I do. And I like those kind of people if they know how to fish. But if they have that mentality and they don't know how to fish, what can you do?
Yeah.
So when someone tells me that, I'm always like, oh gosh, please, then I see their first cast and either my face is like, yes, or it's like, oh, it's going to be a long trip. So yeah, I like those people if they're good and they know what they're doing.
Yeah, but you have to manage those expectations all the time, making sure.
Yeah, absolutely. All day, every day.
All day.
Have you seen that meme of the guy? It's like guide at the beginning of the trip, he's like a big smile, and then guide at the end of the trip, he's smoking a cigarette, looking like stressed out. That's pretty much me. So
that's hilarious, dude. Well, we've gotten some crap recently. Some feedback that, I'm not going to say this person's name. I'm not going to throw them under the bus. And to be honest, well, whatever. But this person reached out to me, and he's like, I really like season 1 better than the current season or any of your other seasons when we added Wild Bill. And I was like, well, maybe Wild Bill just is a horrible guest host. Maybe this guy doesn't like Wild Bill, which isn't true, but whatever. And he's like, no, it was more serious and, philosophy. And it's like, okay, and he wasn't really happy with the whole fly fishing is dead campaign that we've had going on. Not that I think.
Gosh, I love that campaign.
What's that?
I said, I love that campaign. But I get it.
But, he's like, well, and I understand like there's history and there's heritage within fly fishing. I get that, and this person did not grow up as an elitist. He grew up fly fishing ponds and lakes. So it wasn't like he was wearing tweed, but the dude is an older gentleman. And I think maybe he felt like we were slighting him because, fly fishing is dead. And when I say that, we're not just fishing dry flies. We're fishing streamers. We're spay. I mean, some people are even fishing tenkara, which is a very controversial subject. But it, the whole fly fishing thing has changed, and that's where we got. And you can go online right now. I'll put a plug in. You can go online and get a fly fishing is dead shirt because that's what we do.
I want one of those, by the way. I'm going to order one.
It's in the mail. I'm going to mail you one. I got your mailing address. Well, give me your mailing address. I'm going to send you one.
Bring it down here. I don't want it until you bring it yourself.
Okay, that sounds good. I need to come down there soon anyways. But speaking of the Grateful Dead, you are a big Dead and so let's revisit this philosophy, right? Let's revisit the change of season 1. Because I understand what he's saying.
Was I on season 1?
I think you were on season 2.
Yeah, okay.
I think you're on season 2. Season 1 was not good. Like the audio production, I didn't know what I was doing. I like listening back because it's like just shows how far we've come, But I don't think you were in season 1. But anyways, I think a lot of people have ended up or are in fly fishing because they've experienced some kind of life altering experience. They have some kind of something that's changed them. And we were on the river. We talked a little bit. You were a deadhead. Now, how did you get in? Well, did you say? Well, would you not call yourself that?
No, I mean, some of it's by choice until you get your face stolen off your head. But that's a whole different subject.
Tell me more, Paul.
It's a psychedelic subject, my friend. So,
are we avoiding that one for the podcast? Because I will avoid it. But
no, you go right ahead. You keep going. I'm just giving my commentary.
So, how did you? If you don't mind me asking, I mean, what is it about that lifestyle that attracted you to the Grateful Dead? And I mean, you were following him around till Jerry had passed, and
backpack with nothing in it. Ended up with no shoes and a skateboard, dude. I can't say I was going into all the shows, but I was definitely getting to, to the lot at least. But, well, I mean, I think it's no secret the people that like the Grateful Dead have this sense of adventure. And so growing up in the city, in Southern California, I guess, and then having a dad who would take me traveling a bit. We'd go on a train to North Dakota out of, Union Station in downtown LA. We would travel around and every time we left the city, I was like, I never want to go back. And, but fast forward, got into smoking pot and just because everyone in my neighborhood did. And so that was Edgar right there. We're going. All right.
That's Jesus. We heard you say smoking. That's Jesus.
I know. So got into that. And then one thing led to another. Had a buddy who showed me the, let me work on my end. That means he has stuck to his wife. But, yeah, so got into that. And then somehow, some way I had a buddy show me the Grateful Dead. I thought it was the coolest thing ever. It sounded like church music.
Uh-huh.
But way, one song could last 20 minutes.
Right.
And so it was just, each song was an adventure. And so, yeah, but I was kind of like how fly fishermen get all in. When I got on the Grateful Dead, I got all in. And there's that rabbit hole, the Grateful Dead scene is super deep.
Now, were you fly fishing back then or not?
No, I like to fish, but I wasn't a fly fisherman. I didn't have the money for it. I thought fly fishing was for rich people, rich old white men. Yeah. And I'm a little Mexican from Southern California you know what I mean? And so LA area. And yeah, so I got into that scene, and got into traveling around and got heavily into psychedelics and heavily into the music. And then Jerry died. And in 95, I had this epic experience on LSD. And it was completely life-changing. And I actually know the day. It was October 7th, 1995. And it was Jerry Garcia had died, who was the leader of the Grateful Dead, so to speak. And so they had a memorial for him, and I was there and took some psychedelics and came back, went to this commune for 3 days, or I think it was a 3-day festival or something like that. And I came back on October 7th, 1995, a completely transformed and different kid. I went from being on drugs and being on the streets with a skateboard, a backpack with nothing in it, and just cruising around to suddenly I came back with this resolve to be a good human being and to love other people and to make the world a better place. And so that's what I did, dude. I came back in 95, went to college, met my wife, met you at the Harvard of Christian institutions. And, but it was on my radar, the outdoor industry, outdoors, being outside, camping was just the way of life for me at that point.
Yeah.
So, and I was a fisherman underneath that all the time, obsessed. I was obsessed about it since I was a kid. I just didn't have the privilege to be able to do it all the time. But when I did do it, it was like, and fly fishing was just the next step into it, because I wanted fly fishing to me. I keyed in on that. Fly fishing seemed like more of a spiritual thing in a weird kind of way.
I know it's weird. Yeah.
Fly fishing was more like, it was the thing that, I mean, even regular fishing though, this happens to me too. Cause when I chase striper, sometimes I use a regular rod, reel and conventional. And when I'm fishing, I completely get in the moment, which is similar to a Grateful Dead concert, which is similar to anyone who has who wants to really live to the fullest or make the world better, or you have to get in the moment. You have to really experience something. To be human is to so it's hard to explain, but
yeah.
So fly fishing really takes you there, and at this time, for now, I've been doing it so long that fishing takes me there. I love fly fishing. I'm all about it. But for me, it's more of, it's just, back to the Grateful Dead, it's an ongoing thing. Yeah. I got into the Grateful Dead, and to me, it's just an extension of that experience I had on October 7th, 1995. It's kind of like it's almost like church or prayer to me.
Yeah.
When I'm fishing with my clients, even I'm in the zone, and when we're on the boat, they're like, "Do you want to fish?" I'm like, "No, I'm vicariously fishing through you. Like, I'm in the zone, man. I'm with them,
Uh-huh.
So fly fishing does that for me too. Yeah. So
we've talked a lot about you and I off the record, because I like the Grateful Dead as well. And there's this element of synchronicity that we've talked about before, and like you're saying, you're laughing because we've made
last week, dude. Remember?
Yeah, it was not in sync. I mean, did you know I had 3 interviews scheduled last week and none of them turned out?
Really? Bummer. What happened?
Just didn't happen. Like one happened, but the guy emailed me the next morning and was like, "Hey, I don't want to put that out. Can we re-record it?" And I'm like, so the one interview I did get didn't work out. It was not synchronicity,
It wasn't syncing up. Yeah, with you. Okay. Well,
I will tell you this. I mean, through the years, it's no. I mean, I worked in churches when I first got out of college. I don't really ascribe to that belief system much anymore, but I worked as a worship music director at some churches, and one of them happens to be a really large church. I was one of the music guys, and there's this moment when, whether you are spiritual or not, if you're in this room and everyone's singing the same note and on the same key, and the instruments are down, and you just hear everyone in unison in synchronicity, it's a very powerful moment.
Oh yeah.
It was that like that at the concerts too, like with the Dead concerts and everything.
Oh yeah. That's, to me, Grateful Dead. I mean, I grew up when I became a Christian, but with my dad, actually, I grew up there's a Mexican Pentecostal / Catholic deal, and man, they would get in the zone. They would sing with all their heart. They repeat a song, I don't know, a song could last 10 minutes, and by the end of the song, they're all freaking on the same trip, and they're all crying. They're all hugging and holding each other. Same thing, dude.
Like Marco Barrientos.
It's a little different, you could end up, it could be a little different, but yeah.
Well, when my parents, I would be a little vulnerable now, but I was in a really bad car accident when I was 11. A drunk driver had hit me, and I broke my hip, and I spent most of my teenage years pretty crippled up, And my dad, being a good father, and he thought, well, God will heal my son because I'm a good person and my son's a good person. He would drag me to these revivals, And I remember one time we spent quite a bit of time in this revival type thing in Florida. And I remember, I know you're laughing because I know you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Oh, I do.
But there was this, I remember the guy came out. His name was Lyndall Cooley, okay? And
dude. Okay, something about rain, but keep going.
Oh, yeah. All kinds of there's rain songs, there's river songs.
Still around?
I mean, there's, windy songs. I mean, you know what I mean? There's all kinds of songs. But I remember, he puts his hands on, and I know.
That was right when I became a Christian.
That time. I mean, so those are like, and God, I'm so far away from that now, but at that time, I remember when he came out and he would play a chord on the piano, and the place would freaking erupt.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, that's killer. That's amazing. If you can't get into that trip, you can't get into nothing. That's the real deal. But it's the hardcore moralism and control that comes after that I'm right. Neither of us are into.
But was it? But was it? What I'm saying is it similar to a Dead concert? Because I didn't grow up. I mean, I grew up in a very.
Yeah, I mean, in fact, I just went to me and some buddies. I think a couple weeks before COVID kicked off, we went to go see Trey Anastasio from Fish. It's called Tab Trey Anastasio Band. I think is what he calls himself. The three of us here from Wimberley, we went and saw the show, dude. Same thing. I mean, we had church there.
What is it though? What is it? Is it like it? As a musician myself, a songwriter, you know, and you know, I am striving for our audience to experience that. What is it about Fish? What is it about the Dead that's different? Why like Fish? I mean, they've been around for a while. I think Mo was another one that was a jam band for a while. You're into Krungbin as well, who's just unbelievable.
Yes.
Yeah, you know, but it's like, why do you think? I know another band too, Green Sky Bluegrass, which I know a lot of our, you know, they almost have a Dead vibe to them too. And then they start playing, you know, Windshield, and everyone goes crazy. Why do you think that is? Do you think it's the audience? Do you think it's the artist? And I'm bringing this all around to fly fishing because it's a fly fishing podcast. But these are the things that keep me up at night. What is it about that does that?
That's the whole thing. I don't know, but I do know, like, it's not. This is where I'm at. It's not so much about the answer. I heard someone say this. It's not so much about the answer as it is about the question, the mystery.
Yeah.
So I think it's more of chasing down the mystery of it all, you know, and I don't know the answer, but I do know that there's some, you know, you can have a good time. Yeah. You can sing, you can seek up, you can, that's what we're made for that, you know, and it's a connection. Edgar Diaz, what time? Sweet. It's on. You know, it's all my own, it's my own little thing, but it's really about your heart and being a human and connecting with other people. And that's the Fish, music, church, all that, man. I mean, at its best is when that feedback, when we're all together, and like, you know, that's what I love about Fish and the Grateful Dead. They say, we can't do without you. You can't do without us. Like it's a team effort, you know? Right. And I mean, that's why I like the music is even church music, man. You know, a good church music is you're not trying to like fulfill some dude's wild rock fantasy who's playing music. You're actually in it together and you're trying to get somewhere. You get enter that mystery zone, you know, where together you're connecting with each other. And so that's, I don't know if I'm even answering. I don't know if I can answer it, but I think that's what I'm chasing.
It goes back to the question, you know, like you were saying, the question, I think we're all, you know, this has been a real hard time for me because, you know, I told you before we started, I lost a really good friend to COVID. And all of a sudden, you know, we are the only species that I'm assuming we're the only species that knows that everything's temporary, you know, that we're going to die, you know? And so that's been on my mind a lot. Like we not all of us get the same amount of time in life. We're going to have to check out eventually, you know? But what is it? What is that deeper meaning that, and I know there's some kind of Buddhist listening to it right now, to the podcast saying, it's Buddha, you know, and there's probably a Muslim that's Muhammad or whatever, you know, but I truly,
I mean, this is super corny, dude, but it's really about love or selflessness, where you get out of you get out of yourself, man. And there's something greater and bigger that we're all pursuing. And when you do that and you're sharing that and it changes you, make you a better human being, make you serve others, make you love, dude. So that Trey show I went with my buddies, we're in line waiting at the Moody Theater, Austin City Limits still. We're waiting in line, whatever. Some dude cuts in front of me. And I have an attitude problem, you know? And so I'm like, my buddies are just partying, having a good time. We're in line, been in their line about an hour. Oh, it's bothering me. This guy's cutting it. I'm waiting for him to go, you know?
Did he do the chat and cut? Was it a chat and cut or did he just straight up cut?
Oh, no, just straight up walked up in front of him and his two girls or whatever walked up in front of me and just cut. And my buddies, doesn't bother them. Me, really bothers me. Like I'm wanting to, sorry, getting a call. I'm wanting to fight in my mind. Like, I'm like, oh yeah, I gotta handle this. This must be dealt with. Can you see me?
Yeah.
Okay, how do I get back on the screen here? I'm like, it must be dealt with. I must attack. So I tap on his shoulder. I'm like, hey dude, you cut in front of me, man. You know what I mean? Like, and I know I'm at a fish show. I'm at church, you know, so to speak, or I'm at a fish show. I shouldn't be. I should just let it go and be cool and invite him in, you know. But no, I can't do it. I can't let it go. So, long story short, we go nose to nose. We're about to fight. My buddy had to break us up. Blah blah blah. You know, the dude, his girls pull him away. My buddies are like, they didn't know what to do. Should they back me up? Should they, you know? And so after they left, they're like, dude, we're gonna beat it. You know, we're down with you, dude. But
yeah.
Now it's really bothering me. Trey starts off the show with I can't remember what song it was, but it was "Don't Be a Dick." Be love. Be love. I remember the song was "Be Love." The whole first set was about love and all I could think of was that dude. Like, dang, and it was just like church. Like every song was about love. Everything. We go, and now it's set break. We go to the bar. We're standing in line, and dude, I see a dude running up towards me. I'm like, it's that dude. Dude, I've been looking for you everywhere. I'm so sorry, dude. I love you, man. I don't know what I was thinking. Dude, we hugged it out. Turns out, dude, he's like 5 dudes down from the show, and we danced the rest of the show. All of us had a great, you know what I mean? And so that's what it's about, you know, in my opinion. And whether you're whatever, it's something bigger than us. And
yeah.
I think fly fishing should be that. That's why I say the guy you're talking about, that all he wants to do is catch fish.
Yeah.
That's great. Awesome. If you like to catch fish, right on. Do it. And that's your thing, and sports, whatever. But for me, fly fishing is beyond that. It's not work. In fact, guiding, I have to be really cautious about my whole guiding because I don't want to be a pissed off guide.
Yeah.
I want people to get there, and I don't want to be a crappy guide or a shitty guide and be like, oh, dude, you're not going to catch no fish. I'm going to show you God.
It's all about love out here, brother.
Yeah, I'm going to show you ospreys or whatever, cypress oaks. That's what I'm water, flowing water, you know.
Right.
But at the same time, I don't want them to have the experience that fly fishing is all about just catching fish.
Right.
It's not about technique. You know, a fish will eat a bad cast too.
Oh yeah.
And they you know, they're eating bugs. So, and at the end of the day, as many have said, it's just fishing, but it can be much more than that, dude. It could be way cooler than that. And that's what fly fishing is for me and hopefully for a lot of people, hopefully for the old timer who is into that, you know, philosophy or whatever of fishing, that's what they're in. That's what we're all into, dude, is you go from being a tourist when you're looking at water and you're fishing and you're in a new place. But when you step in that water, now you become part of the whole trip, you know? And for me, when I put someone on the water, it's like you're entering freaking God's country.
Yeah.
And we're going to have a good time, dude. And we're going to be as good as we can be and really get down to the nitty gritty, but you know, I do struggle with people, with clients to get on my boat and they're like, dude, I'm expecting 25 fish.
Yeah.
I mean, number one, I struggle because it's going to be a miracle to get you 25 fish or you're going to have a really good day. And I'm sure there's guys that every trip there's guys on Instagram, every trip they get 25 to 100 fish every trip. Trust me, but not on my boat.
Yeah.
But really, and this isn't some fake, you know, BS thing where I'm really, when you get on my boat, dude, when I go fishing, fly fishing, whatever, we're going down the river together, and we're going to be a little different than when we started than when we got off, you know, we maybe more love or more hate, who knows?
Right.
But that's what fly fishing is for me, you know, or hopefully a lot of us, you know.
I talk, there tends to be a couple of different camps. I mean, I've talked to a lot of people on this podcast through the years. And what we're talking about is exactly why I fly fish. I think I'm looking to fill this God-sized hole, is what the evangelists used to say, in my, I'm searching. I think we're searchers. We're people who, one guy said fly anglers are people who like to do things the hard way,
Destin said that,
yeah. Yeah. So it's a different breed of people. And I think,
fun is part of that trip.
Yeah.
Like, I think hopefully people are fly fishing to have fun.
Yeah, for sure.
That's what I'm about. I'm about fun, and that's what we should be doing, is having fun. We're celebrating, dude. We're alive. Oh my gosh, dude. It's like freaking.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, you woke up today. Oh my gosh, you don't have cancer. Oh my gosh, you don't have COVID. Oh my gosh, you're not an intubator, or you're not on chemo, or you don't, you're alive.
Right.
Dude, let's have some fun.
Let's have some fun. Absolutely. But I think there's two people. There's the people like us that are into the deeper meaning, appreciate having fun. And then there's the people that are the hardcore, like they I don't know. But for the most part, I would say 90% of the people that I talk to in fly fishing understand exactly what we're talking about.
Well, and fun, I guess, has its own relative deal too. Like someone might have fun with one guy and have a horrible time with another because, you might not be synced up on the same deal, but so like, fun to me is getting on the water, trying to dial it in, taking it all in, slowing down, connecting relationally. Like I want them to have fun, eating good food, fishing hard. Whereas another guy, it may be fun, might be 100% a good, perfect. He enters each run perfectly, rows perfectly. Mm-hmm. He has the flies that I want. He does, Right. Fun for that guy might be just whatever his trip is, where fun for me is a shared experience where it's a team effort,
Yeah.
So, I don't know if that's even tapping into what you're saying, but
definitely. Well,
you can't control it either.
Yeah.
You cannot control. Every trip I go on is different, dude. And I have, for some reason, when I call my client the night before, it's automatic. I judge them immediately. I'm like, oh, I do not want to be on the boat with this person for 8 hours tomorrow,
Yeah.
Or, dude, I can't wait. And normally my expectation or my judgment of them is, by the end of the day, is normally pretty different the next day. You know what I mean? So yeah. I just think it's being a human, and we're freaking, but gosh, I love fly fishing. I do love fly fishing. It's pretty fun. It's funny that we can talk all about this, about fishing.
Yeah. Well, I think originally when I started the podcast, this is what I wanted to tap into, the spirituality of things, not necessarily of a religion, but the spirituality of fly fishing. There's something to it. It's a little bit different. Every time I go fishing, I step out of the water a different person. And every religion has some form of baptism. Some form of, you go under the water one person, you come up another. You talked about, you go to the Dead concert, and in '95 you come out a completely different person than you were. It's just crazy. And if you take a look at all the religion, you take a look at all the great stories. Joseph Campbell wrote a book, The Power of Myth, and he talks a lot about that hero's journey, that we're all kind of seeking that out. It's a natural thing inside of us. It's kind of like a Disney movie. At the very beginning, all the parents die, and the kids gotta it's always the kid, they're always dead. Like like the Lion King, his dad dies, and he grows up and he goes on a journey and he comes back, you take like, the Little Mermaid, the same thing. It's all like that's Disney's like, they give you the saddest possible scenario right off the bat, and then you got to dig yourself out of it.
They kill you at the beginning.
Yeah.
And well, that's what, as a guide, I die every single time. I start off all super happy. I'm like, we're going to conquer the world. And then about halfway through, I'm like, everything gets weird, starts falling apart. All I want to do, you know, I thought I was so great. Next thing you know, I'm like, I am the worst. Oh my gosh, why do I even do this? Who am I? All that. And suddenly they catch a fish, they catch a nut, and then you're like, you know, suddenly it's a fairy tale, dude. And you freaking, you know, you get them off the boat and it's the best day of your life.
And you're the Lion King.
It's the Lion King, dude. It's Lion King all day. So yeah, well, I don't know.
Well, thanks for hanging out with me tonight, Paul. I could literally talk to you all night long.
We've done it before, I think.
Yeah. It's good stuff, man.
Yeah, dude. You too, man. I always love hanging out. I'm always sad when you're like, Paul, I've enjoyed talking to you, but I got to go, dude. I'm like, no, you got to go.
Hey, I was going to ask you sent me a design. I don't know if you want to talk about this or not, but the Ripple fly fishing thing.
Oh, it's different now.
It is? Obviously, Ripple is like a play on the dead.
Yeah. It is, but we're not going with that one. We'll, it's about to be revealed.
I'm excited. Let me know when it's revealed. We'll be sure to share it with our.
I mean, it's my buddy's working on it, so hopefully he's done. If you're hearing this, if you listen to this, he's been on your podcast before, so
okay,
he's working on it right now.
That's awesome. Yeah, the guy that did my design out of Kingwood, Texas, Ron Blumenkemper. If you saw the album art of ours, did you see that with a Rio Grande Chicklet?
Dude, I like your album art. That's cool, dude. That's pretty interesting.
He's an awesome dude, but he's a creative, so sometimes it's like, dude, like, and I paid him and everything, you know. It's just like creative people are like me. They're just kind of, you have to rein them in every once in a while.
Well, I told him I sold him my boat. And part of the deal was he's going to do some design work for me.
Okay.
And so he's like, all right, I'll get it to you right away, dude. I'm like, oh, take your time. He goes, don't say that. He goes, okay, then I'll get it to you in about a year or two. I'm like, well, I don't mean that much time.
I had to repossess the boat.
Yeah. Well, he paid a good chunk for it.
Amount, yeah. Well,
it was either I got a free net or I got some design work. So I chose. We're kind of in a gray area. Hopefully he'll listen to this. Maybe he's still going to make me in that too. We'll see.
Well, thanks, brother, for hanging out. I really appreciate it. We'll be sure to put this up, and we'll post up some links. If people wanted to book you, where would they do that, Paul? If they want to book you trips.
They can go to. I'll give you my information, and maybe you could put it up on a link.
Yeah, we'll do that. We'll put the links down below in the show notes. And
yep. So I pick up trips from someone, but I'll give you my info, and you can post it.
Okay, sounds great.
All right, dude.
All right, Paul. Love you, brother.
We're gonna get down here. Let's get COVID over with so we can hang.
Yeah, let's do it, man. Talk to you soon.
All right.
Bye.
Buddy.
Well, Bill, thank you so much for hanging out with me today.
Always a pleasure.
I always have a great time hanging out with you. Go to remotenopressure.com. Check out our t-shirts. Our t-shirts are now available for $18. That includes tax, shipping, everything, the whole shooting match.
Do you sniff them first?
I do sniff them just like that. I tell you what, if you want me to wear it with no deodorant for a couple days and then send it to you, I'd be okay doing that too.
That'll only be big to our Japanese listeners.
we're not judged. We don't judge people here. You know, if that's what you like, we're willing to give it to you. You know, $18 for short sleeve shirts, $20 for our long sleeve shirts, and that also includes the Bob White. We have a few of those left over. Bob White t-shirts that are for sale as well. So also pre-sales for the CD are available. That is about to drop, so be sure to go and check that out. Bill, did you have anything to say?
No, again, dang it. You always catch me off guard. Every week you catch me off guard. I was driving over here today. I'm like, today's the day. And I pulled this long speech out. And unfortunately, my window was down, and it all just flew out. And I'm like, dang it, again.
One of these days, you're actually going to have something, and that's going to be the funniest thing. Well, thank you, Bill. Thank you guys for hanging out with us this week on the Remote No Pressure podcast. And until next time, go fishing.